Okay, good morning everyone. Again, the temple is full today. Faith has returned. So today what I'm doing is, today is going to be more demo day. First I thought of talking to a couple of y'all, there's still some fogginess and confusion about the workflow as far as professional digital workflow is concerned. Okay, your internal workflow, I think you're quite clear. If you're using a small camera, you can edit and master it, that's fine. What happens when you do a mainstream film? Exactly how does the workflow flow? How does it go? Where do files go and where do they get converted and all that? I'll do a little bit of that. Then we have material from, I think, previous exercises, which is giving some serious trouble with PDL, 24, 25, that thing. Hopefully, if it is all done correctly in the first place, it will not happen. But it's instructive to see the solutions, provided I can provide the solution. But I'm hopeful that I can solve the problem. So that at a future date, when you have a similar EDL situation, you know where the problem begins. When there's any workflow issue relating to many stages of production, someone somewhere has made a mistake. You know? And the way human dynamics works is no one person likes to own up to the mistake. You know? And because of the well-defined caste system, the most lowest caste has to own up to the error. Okay? So it's always the assistant editor's error, first of all, rule number one. If it's not the assistant editor's error, then there's no error, you know. So you have to figure out, and pointing fingers and blaming doesn't help the situation. The film has to get released. So some people take the larger view and say, okay, let's find out what the problem is. So that's what I'm trying to do. Let's find out what the problem is. Why these EDLs are not working from here, the scans that come from Film Lab, I think that. Okay. So let's first look at exactly the workflows. Post-production workflows. So the very simplest workflow that we are all accustomed to, we're shooting on a small camera, we shoot two SD cards, we copy the data through a card reader into an editing system, which could be a laptop or a bigger system. In that process, sometimes we have to convert the files, or sometimes we use the file natively. That I've described in detail with all the editing system there is. And after it's all over, you make your delivery masters. It could be a DVD, Blu-ray, you can upload the files to the net. This workflow is simple and straight, okay? Although I have not shown sound, his presence here always makes you remember there is sound, okay? So I have not shown sound in this, but in this kind of a simplistic workflow, sound typically happens in the edit itself, or even if it has to happen outside the edit, it is neatly taken out and brought back. There are no complicated stages of sound here like background music, Foley, Dolby Mix. Those things are not applicable in this workflow, okay? So this is something that I think we can consider this is nailed. We all know how this works. In this workflow, nothing goes out of the editing system except the master. So files come in, you work on them, you deliver the output. There is no secondary person. They may not even be a secondary sound engineer, they may not be a secondary DI house, no VFX, nothing. If at all there is something, then it goes in small portions and comes back. So this is a simplistic amateur, pro-amateur kind of workflow. Now the really big one, the standard post-production workflow, the standard professional post-production workflow. And here is where I think there is some amount of confusion in some of you minds about how come the files are of that resolution, how come they become better resolution. So I've kind of tried to make it simple, but in trying to make it simple, actually it ended up probably becoming a little complex. So I'll first lay down the steps, okay, and then I'll show it to you in the form of a diagram. So camera shoots files. Files are transferred to backup drives. First step is that. These files are converted into smaller files because the camera shoots very large files. The editing system cannot handle so many large files. So you convert them to smaller files, HD resolution, DNX HD36, ProRes proxy, whatever, small files. This editing system has only the low resolution copy. Okay, the editing system does not have the original camera files. So the editing system, whatever it is, Final Cut Pro, Avid, Premiere Pro, whatever, is working with the low-res camera files only. Meanwhile, the original files are still sitting on the hard disk somewhere. They're not even in the same premises. They're not even connected to the editing system. So the editing system is not related to the original camera files at all, except through a copy of them. The editing system is working on a copy of the original files, right? The original files are still lying on a hard disk somewhere. Then someday, one day, when everybody is finished, tired of making changes, the edit is over. Okay, after everybody has finished having his say, after the edit is all reshuffled all over the place, the edit is over. Okay, the edit is over is an important part of the process. Okay, the edit is not over or it's ongoing, then the process goes back and forth. When the process goes back and forth, mistakes occur. So it's important that the editing has to get over. I'm repeating this and emphasizing this because editing, if it doesn't get over, and on a partial edit you continue the workflow, then there are back and forth hops. It happens in real life, but if that can be prevented. So editing is finished is an assumption. Then the editing system outputs a XML or a AF or a EDL. Okay, this is just a small file which only contains the description of the editing in a text form, right? Also, the editing system outputs a reference movie. A reference movie means the whole sequence or the reels of the sequence output QuickTime movie. So this is a plain QuickTime movie with whatever location sound, basic sound work. Sometimes they put a watermark on it, sometimes they put a time code on it, but it's a MOV. It has the visual of the edit. It's a picture that people can see and understand as the movie. This reference movie is created, and then simultaneously a AF or a OMF of the sound files is created. So picture and sound, QuickTime movie, picture XML, AF or EDL, and sound OMF or AF. OMF or AF is what everybody knows?
Yes.
Okay. So an OMF is a file. OMF is an older format of sending out sound. AF is a newer format. For OMF files to be able to further be processed, the Pro Tools system needs to have some OMF conversion system installed, which is why we don't normally use OMF anymore because it's an outdated format. We use AAF. AF is advanced authoring format. It contains the sound edit only, or it can contain the sound edit and picture edit, and sound files. It can contain files and edit or only edit. Okay. If it's only edit, the sound person has to link to his original files. If it's edit and sound files, then the sound designer can take it and start working on it straight away because he's got his original sound files back also. So AF can be sound files plus edit information or only edit information. One word, because just last night I got a call from somebody who was exporting AF files on a movie in Bombay. AF files are limited to 2 GB in size. Okay, when you say export AF and you've got a very complicated edit of 25, 30 tracks, it will fail and say file size exceeding 2 GB. The way around that is in the AF export box there is a small option saying AF edit protocol. If you put that on, then sound files can be any size. Okay. I've said this in class, never call me for this again. Okay? Because the guy who called me last night, I had said it in class for him. I told him, I said this in class, you calling me. Yes, sir, oh, I forgot. Exactly. I've said this in class, never call me for this. AAF edit protocol allows you to make AAF files more than 2 GB in size. Okay? Why I'm saying this because you will be exporting AAF files at 2 in the morning. Okay? So, please, AAF files cannot be more than 2 GB in size unless they are AAF edit protocol. What that is, we don't need to know, but it's the magic switch. Okay, at 2 in the morning, that's the magic switch. AAF edit protocol. If your AAF is edit only, it doesn't matter because it's never going to be more than 2 GB. Okay, and edit will never be more than 2 GB. But AF plus sound on 24 tracks on a 20-minute reel will definitely exceed 2 GB. Okay. Now the finishing system could be, smoke, resolve, basslight, new coda, whatever, right? The system that's going to take the XML files, right? Now this system imports the original files, the original camera files. This system right now is nothing, it's just a system. It imports the camera files, the camera original files, either full files, truncated files, whatever. It imports the original files. This system has nothing whatsoever to do with your editing files, your low-res files. It has nothing to do with the low-res files. The low-res files do not even enter that system. The system gets the original camera files and the system gets the XML or the AF or EDL. Okay, the picture XML, the picture AF, the picture EDL, not sound. Sound has started doing his work. Sound is never going to bother you again. Okay, Sound has got the AF. He's started his work. He's called dubbing artist. He's waiting for film stars to come for dubbing. He's waiting for someone to just record footsteps. He's waiting for the music director to show up to make the background music. He's doing his stuff. Sound designer will never bother you again. The moment he gets the AF, he will do his job. We come to picture. Picture mastering station, picture finishing station, New Coda, Resolve, Basslight, Pablo, whatever, has now got the original camera files and it has got your picture XML or picture AF or picture EDL. Okay? Now it takes that EDL and relinks it to the original camera files. It does this automatically, it does this rapidly, it does this without errors, provided all the other conditions are met, which I discussed day before yesterday. Time code, reel name, file name. If those conditions are met, the conform is absolutely rapid, absolutely trouble-free. Okay? It has been working like this for the last 5 years. It has worked like this for 500 movies. It works. If it doesn't work, someone has made a mistake, which I discussed on Tuesday. Therefore, XML files link back to the original camera files. It could be Arri RAW, it could be Red RAW, it could be Sony RAW, it could be anything. It just links perfectly. Okay? So it links that, and there's one more step. It also imports the reference movie, which we had made earlier. The reference picture is imported. They check the entire conform, they check the entire timeline on a frame by frame or a cut by cut basis and ensure that the grading system's timeline is identically matched to the editor's timeline. Because see, what's happening is the grading system is working on the picture and the sound designer is working on the sound. They are working in two different places. They have to have the same picture. They have to have the same, otherwise he will create a sound will not match the picture, or the picture will create a picture doesn't match the sound. They both have compared their session or their work to the reference movie you made. Okay, the editor makes a reference movie which is used as comparison by both the sides, the sound designer as well as the finishing artist. They are both comparing. So for both of them, the reference point is the reference movie. Okay, it's called reference movie, it's called dump, it's called various things, but it is the picture as one continuous MOV. In a feature film, it's delivered as reels. We also put a title in the beginning saying what film, what reel, how much, what duration. We also put a beep, 24 frames before start of picture or 48 frames before start of picture. We also put an end beep for sync. the picture start beep and the end beep is not strictly necessary anymore, because we're not dealing with running tape or running film. We're dealing with elements. We're dealing with digital elements. But anyway, it's all done for the sake of keeping a standard. We cut the film into 20-minute reels, make 20-minute quick times of the film, call it reel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Okay, so this reference movie is created. And the reference movie is used by the picture finishing people and the sound finishing people. They are only using it as a reference, they are only looking at it. Okay, it does not participate in the film. It never comes in the output, right? A lot of confusion is there because of this. They say that quick time, but that quality doesn't matter. That quick time is only for reference. It's only a template. It's a ruler to measure the final output. Okay. So the color grading setup has worked on the original files, has color graded them, has given it a mode, effect, all that. And they finally output files. They finally output files to be sent to make a DCP. And those files are DPX files, almost generally. But it can be a high resolution QuickTime movie, it could be other formats. But currently we are working with DPX. So they make a DPX file sequence. They basically make one sequence per reel. Okay, so it's not like one long set of files. If it's 8 reels, there are 8 folders with 8 sequences, DPX sequences. That's the whole picture, start to finish. It may have beeps in the beginning and end, it may not have, depending on how the workflow is designed between people. But by and large, we do have beeps in the beginning and end. So it's about 20 minutes long, it's about 30,000 frames long. There are frames at their center. Those picture files are the final picture master of the film. The sound, meanwhile, the sound guys have got a sound AF, like I described, and they have done all the work on it. They've edited the sound, they've cleaned it up, dubbing, foley, whatever. And the sound team makes a final set of wave files. These are typically 6 tracks for Dolby 5.1 or 2 tracks for stereo, left, right, or 8 tracks for Dolby 7.1. Dolby 7.1 is not very prevalent, we just do Dolby 5.0 only. We also do Atmos, but don't worry about that. Atmos is a different thing altogether. It's a set of sound files, that's a different, but the sound team outputs a set of wave files. Once again, they also output it reel-wise. They exactly match the picture. They also put beeps in the beginning and end. They label it correctly, and the tracks are labeled. They are labeled according to what the tracks are. They are typically labeled left L, right R, C center, LFE is subwoofer, all the boom boom. LS is left surround, that is this guy on the left. Right, RS is right surround, that's right behind. So there are 4 speakers in 4 corners, 1 subwoofer and 1 speaker in the center. So that's how 6 Dolby tracks. So they make 6 wave files. So you have 1 set of DPX files for the picture, 1 set of Dolby files. So you have 6, if you have 8 reels, you will have 8 folders with DPX files. You will have 64 sound files, 6 per reel, 48 sound files. 6 per reel, so 48. So 6 folders of sound, 6 folders of picture. This information is sent to the place that makes the DCP, which could be a company like Scrabble or UFO or Reliance, wherever. So they take these DPX files, they take these sound files, they combine them together and they make a DCP. And that DCP is sent to theaters all over the country, all over the world, and the movie is watched. Okay, this is the workflow. This is the standard workflow. Original files stay where they are, they go straight for DI. Proxy files or the low-res files go for editing. After that, they don't go anywhere, they stay there. The editing sends out a QuickTime movie and an XML for picture. The editing team sends out a QuickTime movie and an AF for sound. The picture finishing place, the DI place, takes the XML, imports the original files, compares them with the reference movie, and makes sure the picture is fine and starts color grading it. The sound team takes the AF, links it back to the original wave files, works on the sound, and makes a set of wave files. Picture final files, sound final files, both go to the DCP making house, and they are used to make a DCP. Okay. This is the way it all works. Okay. Minor complications. What about the logos that come in the beginning? We also thank media partner. Those are added by someone somewhere. Okay. What about the censor certificate? That also is added by the DCP making or someone somewhere adds. Don't worry too much about where that gets added because the logos in the beginning of the film are silent, so they don't affect the sound at all. They can be inserted before the first frame of picture, which is what they're normally done. And end titles are also added at some point. What happens to VFX? VFX normally starts much before everything else starts. The VFX shooting also is done before. Okay, so you're making a large film like Bajirao Mastani. All the VFX required scenes are shot first because VFX take many months to create the scenes. So though that scene is shot, that scene is given to the editor and the editor edits that scene. Okay. Now obviously the editor is editing that scene out of context. He doesn't understand iske pehle kya aayega, baad kya aayega. So, but they edit it because that's just the way it has to be done. In Sultan, the fights were all shot in the beginning. The fights were all edited with no perfect relationship to what was going to happen before that. But a kind of a loose edit is made just so that the right shots and the right takes are selected. And that edit is sent to the place that has the original camera files. Those original camera files are taken out. They go to the DI house. There they are converted to OpenEXR, which is the format that editing houses work with. While doing that, a small amount of grade is added to that because it shouldn't be too bright or too dark. Just make it safe. Those OpenEXR files go to the VFX house and they start their work. Meanwhile, the editing is going on. By the time the edit finishes, the VFX house has finished the editing, the VFX. Those VFX they convert into with time movies. They bring it back to check for timing and sync and other things. And if everything is fine, the VFX shots are finally rendered, and they are sent to the DI house. By that time, the editing is done. The edit has come there. Those VFX shots are then manually placed in the edit. Unfortunately, we don't have a clear workflow of preserving time code in that circuit. So those shots are pretty much manually done. There's no way we can avoid that. We've tried very hard to make everybody work with time code. In some films we managed to do that. In some films we don't manage to do that. And that's a very, very manual process. Okay, that's a process where someone has to manually replace shots because the shots have no name, meaning no original name, they have no original time code, no original reel number. They are wild shots. They have to be manually placed. So there is this whole new position called VFX editor in many studios, where that person just takes all the files and keeps manually repeating the edit. It's there, that's the way it works, that's the way it works. What about promos? Promos happen towards the end, but promos can have any shot from the film. So the promo editor gets the edit from the editor. He has to use the film, right? So he gets the entire edit. Or he watches the whole movie and says, give me these parts. Or he takes the whole movie. He cuts the promo, which typically is, what promos look like, fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out, super, end slate. That's what a promo is. And add music in that. So the promo activity is a completely separate activity. It happens parallel. In this activity also, there's a bit of confusion because many promo editors are editing on FCP. Many films are being edited on Avid. Promo editors have to edit at 25 because they're going for television. The Avid project is sent there. So the current workflow of promos is a little complicated. I'll tell you that. Let me just show this workflow to you as a complete graphic. Okay.
So
this is
sorry. Where that all the reels are done?
At the DCP making stage. The DCP making stage, there are DPX folders, wave folders. They convert that, they join that, and they make two halves, first half, second half. So before interval, after interval. That's where it is joined. It doesn't have to be joined, but they join it. Because the DCP server can play reels separately also. The DCP server is like a CD player. You can make a playlist. You can say this job is reel 1, reel 2, reel 3, reel 4, pause. So it plays 4, pause. Then you say reel. So you can create that playout, place.